Good evening, Tulane family members. We are so happy that you have joined us tonight for our webinar about the resources available on campus to support your students' holistic well-being and how you can best support your student from afar. My name is Penny Wyatt, and I serve as the Director of Family Programs and External Relations for the Division of Student Affairs at Tulane. And I will launch the webinar here and ask each of our panelists to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about the role that they play on campus and the work of their departments. And as we go, feel free to submit questions for our panel. Usually we ask you to hold those questions until they've finished their formal presentation, but we've decided to create a presentation this evening that is a bit more light on presentation, and we want it to be more conversational. And so we really do want to save a lot of time for your questions and for our panelists to respond to those. So you can begin typing in questions as soon as you think of those. We will, as always, record this webinar, so the video and the PDF of the presentation slides will be available in the Family Programs website archive of webinars and tutorials. And then for all of you who registered in advance, we will also directly email you the link to that recording and the PDF. So we'll you don't need to worry too much about taking notes this evening because we'll send you that information and contact information for these different professionals on campus and their department websites. So tonight's topic is about the larger Wave of Support campaign that has been going on this whole month of September. And this is an element that we wanted to provide for families. So I'll pass it on to Rachel, who will kick us off and tell us a bit more about her work and about how this campaign, Together for Mental Health, fits into the broader work that she does.
Yes, thank you, Penny. And thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is Rachel Weber. I use she, her, hers, and I am lucky enough to serve as Director of Wave of Support. Before I was Director of Wave of Support, I came to Tulane about 8 years ago, first to be a resident director. I was the RD for Josephine Louise for 3 years, which I think is the best building on campus, of course. And then I did orientation for a couple years, and now I've moved to the Wave of Support team. And Wave of Support, it was established recently based on the idea and passion of two of our main donors, Dr. Kathy Fields and Dr. Gary Rand. They had this idea and this passion around mental health and suicide prevention, but they weren't really sure how to turn this idea into something actionable. So they came to President Fitz, and then Fitz came to us to make that come to life. So over the last 2.5 years, I've worked very closely with my colleague Sam Bruce and our colleagues across campus to figure out what this Wave of Support could be. And our campaign this month, Together for Mental Health, is sort of a showcase of what Wave of Support has become, that we really lean into our network of care and are trying to uplift all of the wonderful things that are already happening, and then also finding the gaps and maybe like tightening the net a little bit. So throughout September, we have done approximately 34 programs so far. We still have a couple more. There's a couple more days left in September. But we also have done that in collaboration with dozens of campus partners from all across campus. So students are really getting to know and learn and connect with a lot of different resources in a way that's a little bit easier than it otherwise would have been. So I'm going to put in the chat, if I can, the link to our website. So if you want to check out more about that, I'm sorry, I'm just having a technical moment where my computer doesn't want to copy paste. But care.tulane.edu/tug, there you go. That's our website. And that has information not only about our events, but other ways to get involved. So Penny, if you could go to the next. So like I said, we've had 34 events so far. So just some highlights, not all of them. We had one called Knockout Negativity, which was from Campus Recreation. That was a boxing class that also talked about negative self-talk. Students came to this, absolutely loved it, and also made a whole bunch of friends and made plans to do this sort of thing throughout their time in Tulane. I also want to shout out the Careers in Mental Health panel, where we had 5 different professionals who work in mental health in a variety of ways come and serve on a panel, but also network with students, primarily psychology students, but there were a lot of folks in that room. And they left, everyone was holding different business cards and very excited to go shadow somebody in their lab or, meet for coffee afterwards to get more career advice. That was a really beautiful program. And last night we had another panel called How We Keep Each Other Afloat, which was this really meaningful conversation just about how do we keep going? How do we help each other make it through? And so sometimes we are talking about, mental health and suicide pretty straight on. And sometimes we also have moments of levity. So every Friday we have our Positively Blooming event where we just hand out flowers and affirmations. And it's just a nice little moment of your day. And the campaign is happening throughout September, but we also will have a couple of events in October, one of which I want to highlight is our NAMI walk. So NAMI is a national organization, and they host walks throughout the country. So the New Orleans walk is on Saturday, October 12th, and it's just across the street in Audubon Park. So we're hoping to join that as well. But again, if you go to our website, you'll be able to see all of the events and learn more about those. But 2 other ways that you could get engaged if you cannot come to our events or haven't. Penny, if we can go to the next slide. On the website, you'll also see links to sign the TUGether pledge. If you sign that pledge, it's very short to just ask what your name is, what your affiliation is. And then if you sign it, you'll get a full list of engagement opportunities or ways that you can learn more about this, resources that might be helpful or interesting and can help you get connected. But the second piece is that you can submit advice and words of encouragement for current students. So you can think to yourself, what are words of advice that I might have really needed? Or what is something that I just want to put into the universe for current students? And if you submit those, they will be handwritten by someone and then put in what's called our affirmation validation vending machine of micro joys and delights, which is just this fun, strange machine that hosts stickers and affirmations and is meant to be just like a positive moment in somebody's day. So if you come to campus, it usually lives on Musafir 3, but we also take it around to events and students get a kick out of it. So if you submit advice in that form, it'll be handwritten and put in there and will go to a current student. And I think that I could talk about wave support all day. I could take over this entire webinar. So this is my brief soliloquy, if you can believe it. But I think that with that, I will pass it along to my incredible, amazing, award-winning, stellar colleague, Dr. Janaki Flint.
Let me unmute. Thank you very much. What an opening. Wow. Okay. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure working with you with all those really great initiatives and all the really great creative ideas you have over at Wave of Support. You guys are amazing. Greetings, everyone, and congratulations on getting your scholar to and through college. I'm Dr. Janaki Flint, she, her pronouns. I'm the director at Counseling and Psychiatric Services, also known as CAPS. I've been at Tulane for about 7 years now, this October, yay. And prior to my role as director, I was Assistant Director of Outreach and Prevention. So spent a lot of time in these Tulane streets. I am a licensed clinical psychologist, and I've worked in mental health in higher education for nearly 12 years, spanning 4 universities. Counseling and Psychiatric Services is an inclusive, confidential space for all Tulane students to receive assistance for a variety of mental health concerns. It's a continuum of services because sometimes those services also include resources that really promote the positive mental and emotional wellness of our students. Our work family includes a team of licensed psychologists and experienced psychologists, social workers, professional counselors, who provide same-day consultations, which means your student, even if they have a question about whether or not they really need therapy, and they just want to come check it out, they can come and be seen the same day. We have same-day urgent visits. If a student is feeling like they're overwhelmed or in some type of crisis, they can come in and be seen on the spot. We have individual short-term therapy process skills and support groups. We also offer outreach and prevention. And we do something called clinical outreach often, which is really just a kind of a crisis response to like on-campus events. There may be some grief processing that needs to happen, and you may need someone who is more licensed who can come out and do a group intervention. And we would get called on to do those. We also have care coordination for referrals to sometimes students are in need of a higher level of care or different level of care. We have a short-term grief model here. And so sometimes there are students that need kind of more ongoing, more deliberate care. And so we have someone in place who will coach the student, who will bridge the student as well. One of our biggest philosophies is that we leave no student behind, and we leave no student out flailing, wondering where they are supposed to go. So even if you, as the student is waiting for their appointment with a community provider, we have what's called a bridge. And so we will hold on to that student and provide some coaching to that student until that appointment has been confirmed, and then we'll do a warm handoff to that particular therapist. And so that is something that we're quite proud of, to make sure that our students stay with us and we know where they are. And also, we offer consultations in a variety of ways. And so if you need resourcing, we have something called flexible care. So we will do an interview, and sometimes students don't really need therapy, but they're overwhelmed by something because they're lacking a resource. And so what they can get here is access to any one of these people that you see on the call and other partners on campus. So sometimes it's, oh, I may have some academic struggles and I don't know how to plan well for study. So I'm going to refer them to success coaching, where they can get a coach for that. Once they do that, they typically kind of leave us alone. They ghost us. We call it ghosting. Like they don't come back to us and we're like, where'd you go? But they got the resource that they needed. And so that stressor has been resolved. And so we can help do that as well. And we work with campus partners to do that. We also partner with the Line, who is our crisis 24/7 telephonic crisis hotline that students can call and talk to someone right away if we're not open or it's on the weekends. And they can do that day or night for any type of, and it's confidential support. And the Line is staffed by licensed clinicians and other licensed towards licensure trainees. We've also partnered with, we have a big news that we've partnered with a platform called Teledoc in a program called Mental Health Complete, where we offer eligible Tulane students virtual wraparound mental health care options at no additional cost. So Mental Health Complete is also a team of licensed clinical care providers in therapy and psychiatry that students can access by video or phone. And so they can have coaching through live sessions with a certified coach, paired with personal digital recommendations and also digital programs. These digital programs are more of a virtual self-guided psychoeducation assistance for students to learn various pieces. It's over 1,100 evidence-based programs. So if you've ever seen Calm or Headspace, though it's just a deeper platform for that, where you're getting psychoeducation, you're getting mood tracking, you're getting any type of self-guided assistance online. Sometimes that's all you need. You may want to journal there. You may want to learn about anxiety. You may want to learn about transitioning to college, those types of things. So you can use those self-guided pieces to do that. And these services, the big happy place about this is that the services are available from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. And so it's well after we're closed and well before we're open. And they also, because they offer the coaching feature, it also helps us to stay connected to students when students go away, like go abroad, because coaching is not therapy. So they can get this kind of lightweight coaching, even if they're in another country. And they're not coaches, the certified coaches are not always bound by the state-to-state guidelines about licensed therapy. So we can really open it up a little bit and offer our students this kind of wraparound care no matter where they are. And I think that's about it. We have a lot of really great things coming, and we are always out supporting our campus partners and creating our own initiatives around mental health and wellness. Our link to our website is on, I think it's already dropped in the chat. I'll put it again, just so it will be the last thing you see. There you go. And now I'm going to turn it over to my amazing partner in community care, Allison.
Thank you so much. Actually, I think Catherine might be doing this one.
Oh.
Really, I think I'm doing the next one. But yeah,
Okay.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Dr. Flint.
Well, my other amazing partner in community care, Catherine.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Catherine Tyner. I'm the Assistant Dean of Students here at Tulane. I use she, her pronouns, and I've been at Tulane almost 11 years. I work in our Office of Student Resources and Support Services. I also serve on the Wave of Support Council and Working Group. So work closely with Rachel through Wave of Support. So student resources and support services, we like to say, is kind of a one-stop shop for students. If they're unsure of what they need or unsure where to go, they can come to us and we can assist them. Our office includes case management and victim support services, which Allison will present on, our Goldman Center for Student Accessibility, the Office of Student Conduct, our Office of Family Programs, which Penny, and then our Tulane Recovery Community. So we do have a lot of resources within this department that we're happy to share with you and with your students. So now I'll turn it over to Allison, another amazing coworker.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Allison Francesco. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Director of Case Management and Victim Support Services. I have been in this department going on 9 years in various roles. So it's definitely been enjoyable. And our office is really likes to see itself as a single resource that's available to students kind of regardless of what their presenting issue might be. We help students with a variety of issues. Some examples might be if they're experiencing mental health concerns, or those that might be hospitalized due to some sort of illness or injury, or that they might be experiencing some sort of family crisis that might come up. We meet with students, we reach out to students proactively as well, and we can assist them with just general support, but also academic support and helping them communicate with professors, also help problem solving, getting referrals for off-campus providers, and also just like generally learning like how to navigate the university. I think sometimes when students are in some sort of crisis or some sort of big issue might be coming up, they don't really know kind of where to go or what department they might need to contact. So our office helps them kind of figure out who to contact and what department, and just generally kind of things to be thinking about too, depending on kind of what the issue is. If we aren't able to assist them directly, we have strong relationships with our campus partners, and we can certainly put them in contact with the appropriate office. We also manage the university on-call system, which is available 24/7. It's staffed by individuals in student affairs, including people in case management, housing and res life, and also the dean's office. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I will turn it back to, I believe is it Penny? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So now, family members, we would love for you to submit questions. Please type those into the Q&A section of your control screen, and let us know what kind of questions you might have. I know that one question that comes up is that people might want to know how to distinguish between the counseling center and case management. So maybe if, Allison or Janaki could kind of give us a quick way to kind of discern the difference there between the kind of support or interaction that students might have with the different staff in your two different offices.
Sure. I guess I can kind of, Janaki, I'll kind of start, and if you have something to jump in. So I like to kind of describe it to people that we help students that might be experiencing some sort of crisis kind of logistically figure out how to navigate the university, what things they should be thinking about, help them plan for, maybe how to dig themselves out of a hole, help them communicate with professors. Some of us do have backgrounds in counseling or psychology, but we are not, but we don't do the emotional processing of things. So we refer out to CAPS and also to outside providers to do that. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Dr. Flint.
That was beautifully stated.
So I know another question that comes up sometimes is that a family member might not have a concern about their own student, but perhaps their student is concerned about a friend or a roommate, and the parent thinks, well, I'm not sure if my student is connecting with anyone in support of this person that they've told me about. But as a mom or a dad, I can kind of tell that somebody needs to be, notified about this, or this person needs some more help than just, their peer roommate or friend. So how can a concerned member of the parent community let us know about someone who might need some assistance?
I can answer that. I just put the concern report link in the chat. We have a university reporting system or concern report that anybody can complete, whether you have a concern about your own student, another student, or a broader issue. These come to us in real time, and so we triage them and prioritize the more immediate ones. So if it's something that is more, urgent, our on-call staff will address it in the moment. If not, the next business day, typically a case manager will reach out to the student, try to get them in and see, what's going on, what supports they may need, and what resource connection could be helpful for them.
So one question that's come in is that the participant said, I recently read about success coaches. Is that a part of the Wave of Support organization?
Thank you for that question. Success coaches are their own office, but they're very much friends of the show. So we are deeply connected with the success coaches, but they are just a separate office right next to ours. We share the same floor. We connect with them on many, many things. And success coaching is very, very incredible. If your student has not met with a success coach, I would encourage them to. And if they meet with one success coach and they just don't click, they can meet with multiple success coaches until they find somebody that they really resonate with. But they're an incredible team. And yeah, we work with them a lot, but we are two separate offices.
I think another thing that's really important for family members to know about how all of these wonderful professionals operate is that they're so connected to each other and they collaborate a lot. So they even if the student who approaches them isn't quite sure where to go, they know how those different departments work and who the best staff can be to help the student in their situation. And they refer them, to those different offices, and they really kind of guide them to the right place. And sometimes a student may need more than one type of help, or as they go through their time here in their journey, they may need to take advantage of different types of support and assistance, and that can vary over time. So they're very adept at understanding that and helping the student feel like they are part of a community of care, and it might be shaped or delivered a little differently depending on what the issue is, but there's all these different options. And so we always just want to have students feel like there is a place for them to get that support. So we really do welcome your questions. If you have any more, please submit those. I'll ask our panelists if you have any other thoughts that you'd want to share as you've listened to the questions or listened to your colleagues here. If there's anything else you want to mention.
I think just knowing that you can reach out to any of us here at any time. And if we're not the appropriate person, we will find you the appropriate person and make that connection. You know, the four of us have been at the university for some time, and so are very well versed on what we do have to offer and what other offices have to offer.
Yeah, I'll also say that so Wave of Support, one of the things we do is to be a hub for all of the amazing work that's happening across campus. And so if you go to our website, care.tulane.edu, we've organized resources based on the 8 dimensions of wellness. So if you know that someone is struggling with this particular thing, maybe it's you know, an emotional concern, you can go to that page and see all of the resources across campus all in one spot. So hopefully it makes the resources easier to navigate, easier to find, because I know Tulane is vast and our network is vast, but it can be hard to navigate sometimes. So that website is designed specifically to help pull things together.
And I'll also mention that students got information, you know, through orientation and the modules that they did over the summer as they were making that transition from high school to college, about these different resources. But that's not a one and done kind of thing. They also get updates about those and reminders in their TIDES classes through the peer mentors. And then all of these departments also do outreach all year long in in various different ways. So while there's been this special focus this month with TUGether for mental health, there will be other times during the academic year where these notes are kind of hit again. And so it puts, those different resources and the kinds of things that these different staff members can help students with are mentioned over and over again. And so we want you to know that if a student missed this or it wasn't a high priority for them at that time, they're still going to see these kinds of things and get directed to it and see things on social media. They'll see signs, they'll see information tables. There'll just be a lot of different opportunities for them to hear about these resources and know that they're available. So any other last thoughts that any of our panelists want to share at this time? And I'll make a last call for questions to be submitted, family members. So anything else? So Rachel, what are the last couple of programs that are happening in the next few days in case these parents want to nudge their students to take advantage of them?
Yes, and excuse me for turning my body completely to the side, but I have a giant calendar on my wall with all 36 color-coded events. But no, so what's today? Today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. So we have another Positively Blooming event on McAllister, and this one is hosted in collaboration with TUA, or the Tulane Undergraduate Assembly, and that will be wonderful. We also have had every Friday of the month the Ask an Ambassador Hour in Goldman, in the Goldman Center. So if students are thinking about being connected with Goldman, or they are connected with Goldman, but they haven't really built community, that's a really great opportunity to do that. On Monday, we're going to have our mental health fair right outside the LBC from 11 to 3. So you hopefully will catch a lot of lunch traffic, and we will have free popcorn, free lemonade, and also lots of resources from student organizations, community organizations, different offices on campus around mental health. And then in October, we will be doing tabling for World Mental Health Day, which is October 10th. And then we're also going to have that walk, that NAMI walk, on the 12th. So if they're interested in any of that, those things will exist. But they will also get many, many, many emails from me and Wave of Support throughout the year about resources and ways to get involved and ways to connect with each other.
So we've got a question that's come in. These are great initiatives. Where would you recommend a student start if they are looking to be more successful in securing membership to selective organizations from which they've been rejecting so far? For example, applying to be a Tides peer mentor, joining a sorority or fraternity, service fraternities, or research opportunities. So I'll throw that out to the panelists and ask if any one of you would like to address that one.
My first instinct, and then other panelists, please feel free to disagree, is that I think a success coach would be great, but also there are peer success leaders. So I wonder if this student might want to talk to a fellow Tulanean, like a fellow peer that's like also going through that and may also have gone through a lot of this. There are peer success leaders. There are also peer college advisors, if this question had been about advising, but there are often, for a lot of professional roles on campus, there are often peer roles that are similar to that. So my recommendation would be success, either from a success coach or a peer who can also, I think, just be able to identify with dealing with all that rejection. I don't know if other panelists disagree or have other thoughts.
I was also thinking if it's, professional organizations like a business fraternity or a med school fraternity, things like that, maybe meeting with a career coach to talk through, building their resume, interview skills, things like that.
And
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 then
always a case manager.
yeah. I'll also offer that I know that that can be very, very disappointing, especially if they did this as perhaps a first-year student, and they may not have the best sense overall of, how few spaces there might be in that organization. And so that just means if it seemed to be really popular one year, then it's more competitive to get in. But sometimes trying again another year when they've got more experience behind them, and so their interviews go better because they've got more to share. They've got more examples to give that make them a stronger candidate. But I do think that the Career Center does, mock interviews with students. And so even if they are not trying to get prepared for a full-time job later, doing those mock interviews so that they're even better at doing the kinds of things that require interviews for some of those student organizations. But the other thing that I really want to stress is that there are so many opportunities for students to get involved and make a difference in student organizations and working with departments on campus that don't have that same kind of selective interview process. And so if they have initiative and they look for some of these other opportunities, they may not get all of the same type of hype that students lend to some of those particular organizations, but they can get great experience and make wonderful connections and friendships through other things that they can do, where they just need to take the initiative and sign up for something and get involved. And then they can kind of go through levels of leadership. They can start out as a member, get involved, do different things, and then they can grow in the organization and grow into roles that have more responsibility and maybe, a higher profile or have a specific skill set that they'll get to develop. And so I think sometimes there are just some organizations that get all the attention, and they are not the only opportunities out there. And so I do think that widening their circle of friends that they talk to about things they've been involved in, going to more events on campus so they get a better sense of the wide variety of things that are happening is a really smart idea. And looking at some of the things that are attached to their academic interest or their potential career interest, because we have over 200 student organizations. And so all of those are run by students who are taking responsibility for making things happen and guiding and leading their fellow students and providing activities for the rest of campus. So there's just more out there that's possible than I think our younger students perceive at the beginning as maybe first years or sophomore students. And so there's really so much to go around. And so I just think that if they will have an open mind, sometimes they might want to try something different or try something again. And the other thing that I'll mention is that there will be another student activities fair type thing in January. It's usually towards the end of January. So your student might say, oh, well, there was this, the student organization fair, early in September, but and I went to a few things, but nothing has come about. They'll have some other opportunities to do that. And then there's also this web-based platform called WaveSync that students can use to investigate student organizations, put themselves on a mailing list so that they get information about those things. So I know that the disappointment they might feel if they didn't make that connection or get selected for one of those things can be significant, and it can be something that dampens their enthusiasm or makes them doubt themselves, and that can be something that can really affect their the way they're approaching their time at Tulane. So we don't want some student to get stuck in that kind of disappointment. So please encourage them to reach out in any of these directions that we've mentioned, because we want them to have that balance to their studies, to also have those ways to connect and develop skills, develop friendships, and find their path and find things that are fulfilling for them. So we understand that that can be a very significant thing for students, and we want to help them move through that. So I hope that gave some suggestions that you can follow up on with your students.
And Penny, if I could just add one more thing, because I know it was talking about research opportunities as well. I think really developing relationships with professors. If there's a professor in a particular field that they're interested in, perhaps there's a professor that the class that they really enjoy. Office hours are a great time just to kind of make yourself known, and just to even put it out there that you are interested in any kind of research project. That particular professor might not have something going on, but perhaps they know of, something else, or they'll remember the student when something comes up. So I think really trying to develop that relationship with professors, and, also reaching out to the department chair too. I don't think that would be like a bad idea if,
Right.
And just, again, making themselves known and just saying, like, I would really love to participate in any kind of research that might be going on, or even getting online and seeing what looking at the professors' bios and seeing what they're interested in, and then trying to connect with the professor if there's some sort of research topic that they're interested in. But I would also really recommend, just making sure that they develop those relationships with professors.
I agree. And another thing that can be useful for students, it might not be the first thing that comes to mind for them, but sometimes getting an on-campus job can also be another place where they just get more connected into the Tulane community. And they might be working in an office where they are assisting some of the people you've met through these webinars. So it's one more person on campus who cares about your student, who's paying attention to them, who will ask them what they're interested in, and who's already networked into all these different opportunities, and can just be another person in your student's corner. And so they might think, oh, I don't need really a job right now, or they think that a part-time job means it's 20 hours a week. We have a lot of students who are working like 7 to 8, 9 hours. And it's just enough to just get them a bit more connected. So I want to suggest that as well. So, well, I'm going to make one last call for questions, and we'll see if anything comes in. If not, I just want to remind you again that we will send you the information and the links, and we just want you to know that we are very grateful for the assistance that we've had for Wave of Support. It's only been possible because of the incredible generosity of Tulane alumni and parents, and continued private support is really vital for the program's growth and expansion. And so if this topic interests you and you would like to know more about how you could contribute to the growth of Wave of Support, you can contact our colleague Daphne Stratton, and I will have her email address in the follow-up messages that I'll send you. But it's, if you want to take this down now, it's DEVERHAR@tulane.edu. If you didn't catch that, maybe Rachel can put it in the chat. But we will also send you that information. And so we are very, very grateful for the parents and alumni who have seen this cause and it matters to them, and they want to get involved to help. And so if this sparks your interest too, then we would love for you to connect with someone at Tulane about that. So seeing no other questions, I'll thank everybody for joining us tonight and give my special thanks to all of our panelists. And please tell your own student about a few more of these activities. And we appreciate again that you are concerned about this community of care and supporting our students. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.